All right, in today's episode, I'm gonna show you how you scientifically burn fat. Now, studies actually show that 95% of people who try and lose fat are never able to achieve any permanent fat loss. And quite frankly, it's not because they're lazy, it's just because they may not have a solid comprehension of how the fat burning process actually works within the body. See, losing fat is not just a matter of eating less and exercising more. Although both of those are important parts of a good fat loss program because calories in, calories out do matter, but just doing your best to eat healthy and exercise isn't gonna do you a whole lot of good if you don't understand how your fat burning hormones work within your body. Because these hormones determine whether or not you're burning stored body fat for fuel or whether they're burning sugar. Now, let me break down exactly how it works. If you have high amounts of fat burning hormones in your body, they're going to trigger an enzyme that's known as lipase to be produced. This enzyme goes around and it breaks down fat into usable energy molecules that are called ketones. Now, not only does this consume your stored body fat, but ketones, in my opinion, are one of the best sources of energy for your body. I like to say running on ketones is like running on jet fuel, since they give you amazing, long-lasting energy that doesn't have the crash that normal, low-quality gasoline would have. Now, on the other hand, if you have high amounts of fat-storing hormones, then your body's going to run on glycogen and other forms of sugar stored within your body, which is okay for a short amount of time, but not if you're trying to burn fat. Your body then triggers the release of an enzyme known as glycogen phosphorylase. And this breaks down your glycogen molecules into what's known as glucose, which is regular fuel for the body. And not only does this spike up and later on crash your blood sugar, it also ends up preventing your body from burning its stored tissue as fuel. So now that you know the importance of fat burning and fat storing hormones, the question is, how do you make sure that your body has the right hormonal balance to burn fat and get those enzymes cranking the way that they should? So the first thing that we need to do is we need to be able to control what is called insulin. Now, insulin is released in the body whenever we consume carbohydrates as a response for the body to be able to absorb those carbohydrates or those sugars. So what I've done here is I've drawn a little graph. This graph simply shows that when sugar is high, it's going to ultimately equate to 0 ketones. So the more carbohydrates that you consume, the steeper this drop-off is going to ultimately be when your blood sugar crashes, and then you end up with no ketones that are actually giving you this good fuel. Ketones, remember, they are a stored form of fat that ultimately gets turned in by the liver to a ketone body. So we don't really want this situation. Now, I'm going to draw something slightly different. On the same kind of y and x-axis type of graph, I can show here's what happens when you consume fat or tap into your body's stored body fat, and then here's your ketones here. Now, we end up, if we consume fat, the line looks like this. Nice and easy, you're still producing ketones. But if you actually do a form of intermittent fasting where your body uses stored body fat for fuel, then this happens. And then you're producing a lot of ketones. The reason you're producing those ketones is because your body is utilizing your stored body fat as a source of fuel, and it's putting it into the liver, and the liver is converting it into those ketone bodies, which is essentially the jet fuel that I talked about. So yes, your stored body fat becomes your jet fuel. The single most important technique that I recommend to all my clients to manage their fat-burning hormones simply is intermittent fasting. Now, I did put together a free video presentation that shows you the unique intermittent fasting system that I personally use and that I scientifically put together with a lot of research. Simply head on over to SixPackAbs.com to learn how you can use fasting to burn your belly fat and get in the best shape of your life. Now, if you haven't heard of intermittent fasting before, it's a relatively new style of healthy eating, which has some very exciting research behind it. On an intermittent fasting program, you choose a certain time to be your eating window and other times to be your fasting window. Rather than trying to micromanage everything that you're eating, especially every 2 hours, you focus on not eating during your fasting window, which gives you more flexibility to what you want to eat during the eating window. Now, what studies are starting to show is that intermittent fasting is one of the most powerful ways to improve your fat-burning hormones. Therefore, your body uses more of your stored body fat and less of the consumed sugar for fuel. When people are constantly eating, there's always carbohydrates that are available from the food that they're eating. So their body's sugar stores are constantly replenished. This trains their body to burn mainly sugar. Now, if you've struggled to lose body weight in the past, despite trying to eat healthy, this quite honestly could be the simple reason. On the other hand, when you're fasting, your body's sugar stores aren't constantly getting replenished by consuming carbohydrates. This means the longer that you fast, the more that your body is burning body fat for fuel instead of the consumed sugar. And when you stick to a fasting program relatively long term, you can train your body to run primarily on stored body fat. That's exactly why I would recommend intermittent fasting to most of my clients. It's simple, it's effective, and there's real scientific research proving that it does help your fat loss hormones. So head on over to SixPackAbs.com now to learn my full intermittent fasting system. In that video, I'm going to show you my 4 simple tricks that I use to avoid getting hungry while I was fasting. You see, a lot of people are afraid they're going to be hungry all day if they fast. But this isn't the case at all. There are a few tricks that you can use to reduce hunger, and I'll show you how in the video. You can also see what you can't and can't consume during a fast for maximum fat burning results. A lot of people end up sabotaging their progress with intermittent fasting simply because they're uninformed and they unintentionally end up breaking their fast and triggering the release of the fat-storing hormones again. It's a very delicate process. So I'll show you how to avoid these issues so you end up losing fat a bit faster. Finally, I'll show you why the way that most men break their fast ends up being pretty much wrong. I'll also share a way of breaking your fast with you that's been scientifically proven to be better for your fat-burning hormones, and it's leveraging the use of other hormones at the right time. Everything that I'm about to share with you in this presentation is backed by real scientific research, and I back up every assertion I make with empirical evidence. So head on over to SixPackAbs.com to start losing your body fat with intermittent fasting. I will see you there.